and welcome back to Visions. I'm Mirella Rich. If you've just joined us, we're here with Yasser Solomon from the Muslim community, Helen Gardner from the Jewish community, and David Schutz from the Christian community, all members of the Jewish Christian Muslim Association of Australia. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
Some people may doubt that all these different religions coming together would achieve anything. What are your thoughts on this?
I think it's achieving peace, harmony, understanding. There is a fear that somehow we're going to be converting each other, or some religions are going to be more active, focused on converting the participants, but that hasn't been the case. It's been understood. It's about understanding, and I think going back, it's not only achieving things with me as a participant, but also my family. My family's starting to connect. The circles of influence are starting to increase.
It sounds like there's a high level of maturity there.
Well, I think once you understand, you've got your free choice about what religion you follow, but you want to develop your understanding of the rest of the world that you live in, and that's a wise thing to do. Yeah. I think that there's no reason why you shouldn't take that step.
Beautiful. And what's been your experience?
I think I've learned a lot about other faiths, and I think that one of the really important things is to start from the ground up. We sort of got tired of waiting for the leaders of our faiths to make the kind of moves that perhaps we think need to be made for people to cooperate together with each other. And so the hope for JCMA is that if we start from the ground up and we build up a groundswell, we can in fact influence the higher echelons of our faiths to also do perhaps more organisational work together.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It just takes one to take responsibility and get it started and snowballed. Look how big it is now.
I began working full-time in interfaith activities in around about 2002, and when I first began it was very difficult to know who to speak to on the other side of the table, who was there. Since JCMA, we have built up a Melbourne-wide, in some cases Victorian-wide, in some cases Australian-wide, network of people, so that if anything comes up, I just have to pick up the phone and I can talk to someone else I know from each of the other communities. And I have learnt to call people like Yasser and Helen my friends. They're not Jews and Muslims anymore. They're Yasser and Helen, and etc. and others. And there is a new community building. We have, of course, retained our faith, strengthened our faith, but we have formed one new group of people living here in our society, bringing some unity to it.
Because when you think of it, children relate like that. They play together straight away. They don't ask questions about what your religious background is.
No.
It's also important to realise, and this helps all the participants realise, that none of the religious teachings say anything about being hostile to each other. In fact, it teaches the opposite. And that's something that needs to be learned generation after generation. So this is doing that type of work for this generation. And it's got to be renewed, relearned every generation.
That's beautiful. And what's been the aim of the group, would you say, overall, from the time you've been there?
The aim is that we do come face to face with one another. For me, I think ultimately that's the intention. When you've sat and eaten with somebody, when you've been side by side and at least experienced or observed one another's prayers together, when you have sung a song together, when you have talked about the deepest, most intimate parts of your life with one another, that person can no longer be an enemy or in any sense seen as being an adversary. That person then is a friend.
That's a good point. That's beautiful.
That I think is the aim.
That's
of
just like
JCMA.
sisterhood, brotherhood, you know, it's just like
And that dispels suspicions. I mean, there's no room for suspicions when you can talk straight face to face
Builds trust.
with confidence and trust to the other person.
It dispels the stereotypes, and then you start to see people as people, so that you don't meet Jews or Christians or Muslims, you meet people who happen to be of one faith or another.
And what has been achieved, would you say, over the 4 years?
A maturity that wouldn't have otherwise been there, a maturity especially in those that are participating and taking that further. And obviously, because of the different projects that are now taking place in the schools and so on, it's affected many hundreds if not thousands of people's lives. And they go back and they see things in a different way, and they talk about the issues, and they're not afraid. They don't have to be intimidated by these issues.
See, all these wonderful things are going on, but sometimes the media focuses on the negative, and people just get influenced or informed in the negative. They don't hear about these wonderful things.
Not Channel 31.
Yeah, not on Channel 31. They don't hear about these wonderful things that are really going on, and these are all just as real, you know.
But it's sometimes frustrating from a media point of view. We believe that something incredibly unique, incredibly special is taking place, yet it's almost as if we needed to let off a bomb or something at one of our conferences to get any sort of report in the local media.
Yes, the comment was, you spent 4 days together and you didn't kill each other. That's not news.
Yeah, it's not exciting enough.
If it doesn't bleed, it doesn't lead.
Sorry?
If it doesn't bleed, it doesn't lead.
Yeah, but we have to get used to like celebrating great things in life. Why do we have to
Absolutely.
celebrate the negative in life, you know?
I think one of the achievements that we had was that the day that the 2005 conference finished, we all came home on an absolute high, having interacted with each other in such a wonderful and positive manner. And we came home to the news of the London bombing, and we were all absolutely devastated. But within 3 days, that was on a Thursday, and by the Sunday, members of our group who'd been at the conference had organised an interfaith rally at Federation Square to show our solidarity with the rest of the world and our against the sorts of things that were happening in London. And I don't think that that would have happened if we hadn't had the JCMA conference.
That is so beautiful. We're about to go to a break now. You're watching Visions. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly.